thing I would do is I'd break up that top line. I don't think, and I thought this in particular, this is going into last night's game. Anthony says the Leafs have the making of a dominant top line with an emerging power forward in Matthew Nyes, the best scorer in the league since he entered it in Auston Matthews, and the best two-way winger in the league, or one of the best two-way wingers in the league, Mitch Marner. But the results so far this season have been underwhelming, with a 26-21 goal differential 5-on-5. Just last season, they posted a 24-12 goal differential in about 10 more minutes of shared ice time. So they've already given up a ton more on their end, and that's with much better goaltending, and I would say also defense this season.
Yeah.
I don't think that line is working. And it doesn't really matter why it's not working. It's time to split it up. And, I also would say that, after last night's game, I think the Leafs have to make a choice. And this is a bigger point. Last night's game, you go in, you want to win the division. I want to talk a little bit about depth scoring later, so let's save that because that's actually coming alive a little bit, which has been nice. But the Toronto Maple Leafs need to decide what kind of postseason they want to have. Because what I am seeing from this top line is they want to have a long postseason, right? If they're tired, then they're tired. Okay, they went to Four Nations, they're tired. Okay, cool. If you feel like you will not get through the first round if you finish second or third, then you should not have bought at the trade deadline. Right? So I think the focus has to switch from winning the division, which up until last night I was like, it's got to be this. But in watching last night's game, Auston Matthews doesn't have his legs right now. Willie doesn't seem to have his legs. Mitch doesn't seem to have his legs. There are plays where you go, oh, there they are. But are they dominant for a 40 or a 60? No.
Or a 10.
And we know that Matthews has been fighting something, right? This is a career low in goals.
Yeah, if we want to talk about that, I think Auston Matthews is injured now, and they're playing him because 70% of Auston Matthews is still a 40-goal scorer, and that's better than no Auston Matthews. And it's 18 games left. He's going to play through this, whatever he has, but he's clearly injured.
Well, what if you just didn't, though? What if you played him every other game and you saw what happened? Because here's the deal. In the playoffs, people get injured and they sit. And we saw it last year with the Leafs, who did force the Boston Bruins to 7 games last year. Yeah. Without Auston and without Willie for most of it.
Yeah, but Adam, you can't win with that kind of talent out of your lineup. I mean, Florida did, but you can't.
I think what the Leafs need to do is decide, is first place in the division the most important thing? Is it worth sacrificing performance in the first round? Because what I would do right now is I'd say to Auston and Mitch, guys, we're going to get
whoever
Reeves and Steves back up.
Hell yeah.
And which I love. I love that I didn't even ever put that together. We're going to throw them in the lineup against Ottawa. Whatever happens will happen. We're going to put it on the rest of the guys, and they're going to have to find it. And we're going to get Robertson back in the lineup or whatever it is. And you've got to go into that first round knowing that whatever Austin's best is this year with this lingering whatever, that you have it.
They got to put him in
he's got to breathe.
Dragon Ball Z cryo chamber.
I don't believe that sitting Auston Matthews will help his injury because it's something.
Will it help his energy?
I don't know if it'll help at all. I feel like they've learned that the best way for him to perform at an optimal level right now, whatever that is, if it's 70% of what he has, if it's 80%, if it's 85, it's 50, is to keep playing through it, and that sitting isn't going to help him be better once he's back on the ice, and this is something that's going to have to be dealt with in the offseason, and right now this is the player that you're going to get because he's going to play these games. We saw when he came back in November after the first stint when he was gone, he went to Christian McCaffrey's doctor to go do voodoo magic.
And he was good.
He came back, and then he was good, and then he wasn't really good, and then he had to go, and then he came back again, and then the next time he came back, he was good. They don't know what's going to solve it, so there's no sense in having him sit.
Okay. I think there's an exhaustion factor here. I really do. And I do think that these people are human beings. They're not robots. Let them take a couple games, man. I don't see. Okay, so you give a 25-year-old 4 or 5 days to just chill at home, do your normal like workouts or whatever, but don't go crazy. And we'll see you at the end of next week.
I think you get that towards the early mid-April when the season's ending. And I think that's when they'll do that, because right now the division thing, how we talked, this was a must-win game. Like,
then they didn't.
They didn't win it. So now what you're talking about comes now. What I don't think they shouldn't have done that in the last few weeks.
Nope.
Look, we talked about 2 days ago, must-win game. You're not sitting Auston Matthews for that. Chris Tanev came back because this was an important game, and they all recognize that. So I think now you move forward with the early April sitting these guys, because the division is going to be out of reach if you keep losing.
And I think this is important.
I just want to add one quick thing to my point before you jump in.
Sure.
Because we have been. No, I understand that. With Auston, if you sit him now and you get some legs under him and then he starts scoring and getting that confidence back, then you could sit him again at the end of the season. But if he plays like this and then you sit him that last, game 81 and 82, he's going in probably without that. And goal scoring is a confidence thing, right?
It is.
That's my only thinking with that, just to fully explain my point. Go ahead, guys.
Well,
Sorry.
I saw people. So I'm trying to take my before the loss brain and have it negotiate with my after the loss brain, because my after the loss brain is upset. Before the loss, though, Chris Tanev made his way back into the lineup, and people were like, "Oh gosh, hope the Leafs aren't rushing Chris Tanev back." And I'm like, "It's the Leafs. They listen. They haven't had a lot of on ice success. Oh, regular season, no one cares. They haven't had a lot of on ice success. The video team is unreal. Their sports science team is state of the art. So any lineup decision they make regarding an injury, unless I'm given a reason to not trust it, I trust it. Carte blanche. Tanev comes back, I'm like, it's Tanev's time to come back. Matthews plays, I trust them that this is the right decision. They're obviously going to do anything to bring him to 100%. They flew him to Germany mid-season. I've never heard of that. Never heard of that. So us being like, they should do this and they should get him a little sleepy. Like, it to me, it's I think we're wasting our breath a little.
Okay.
Because like, listen, it's great. Like, we're not in the room. All we can do is theorize, but their sports science team has earned enough benefit of the doubt that every night I go in with the assumption that the Leafs are playing their best lineup, because that's how good they are. That's how good their sports science team is. They played Tanev because he was ready. Matthews plays every night because he's ready. So I don't think us being like he should sit means anything.
Okay. I do think there is a value in sleeping in your own bed. And
100%.
And the sports science team is also going to defer to the player oftentimes, especially when it's a player like that.
Yeah.
And especially when the team's goal before the other night was to win the division. And listen, let me be on the record. There's still plenty of time. They still can win the division. It could all go well, right? I do believe that. I think we're not, like, as fans, and as fans, you don't have to. You don't have to give a shit about any of this. But I do think that context matters. I really, really do. And you can't tell. Sometimes athletes need to be told, no, actually, you're not at your best. And it doesn't matter what you tell me. You need to sit for a game. I think have some popcorn.
That's part of what makes a sports science team good. Like, as a patient, there are definitely times where you go to the doctor and you have to advocate for yourself. And you got to be like, no, I know my body. Something's wrong here. Right? But I think part of being a good doctor, physician, whatever it is convincing your patient to do the right thing. Convincing your patient to do what's best for them. So to me, that's part of the job.
Yeah.
I don't think the Leafs are sitting there going, all right, so this might jeopardize everything. This might jeopardize millions of dollars. It might jeopardize everyone's job, and it might jeopardize the future of this franchise. But this Thursday night game against Florida, this has to be ours. You know what I mean? I think every game, they've earned enough of the benefit of the doubt. They're icing their best lineup with what is best for the players in mind.
And if we look in recent memory of two big players who came here with injuries just for the sake of Toronto has the most medical resources, John Klingberg and Yanni Hakanpää, two injured players who signed up to play in Toronto because they knew that we're going to get awesome treatment here and we can use Toronto to rehab and get paid.
Hakanpää's still going to stuff. I saw a video. I'm like, oh, he's playing with kids.
Hakanpää's around because he knows he's going to get great treatment here and he gets his paycheck and all that. And Toronto wanted him if he's healthy. But Toronto believed in their medical staff so much that they're like, okay, this guy's broken, but we can rehab him and we can possibly get a really good player out of it.
They extended Jason Spezza's career. They extended Joe Thornton's career. Like, I know Joe Thornton advocated for other older players. There was one player in particular, he's like, you got to go to Toronto. And the player decided to go somewhere else, and they were one and done after that. They weren't able to extend their career. Thornton, and the other really underrated success story with the Leafs was Tyler Ennis, who was
brought up on the show earlier.
Was he?
Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was a part of that. He was a part of that lineup.
Oh yeah,
2019.
Yeah, my bad.
Two Tyler Ennis references in one show.
That's crazy.
In 2025,
separate from each other.
Been a long time.
Scored a hat trick.
Yeah. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, Auston Matthews doesn't look like Auston Matthews, but I trust that they will sit him down if he needs to, and that right now he's in the lineup because that's the best way for him to get through this thing. And if he needs to sit and make it better, he will. But I think right now it's just play through it.